Oh yeah, I know him. I mean, I don't know his name, but I see him here often taking pictures here and there.
Good. A few days ago, this man came to have a drink here with a blonde woman wearing a black bikini. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you know that woman?
I see her here sometimes too. Oh, there she is. What did she do?
Hey, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm Detective Harry Smith from the Crime Scene Investigation Department. Can I ask you a few questions?
About what? What about him?
You know him?
Yes. He's a photographer, and he offered to take some photos of me last week. That's all. What's wrong with this guy?
Well, he was killed last Friday. Witnesses say that you were the last one who saw him.
Well, yes. As I told you, he offered to take some photos of me that day. He said that I'm so photogenic.
And then what?
Nothing. I went to his apartment to get those photos.
Is it normal to get your photos from the photographer's apartment?
No. But he invited me to his apartment for a drink.
And what happened then?
Nothing. We had a drink. But it seems that he impaired the photos. They didn't develop right or something. So I left.
Impaired them? How?
I don't know, but I didn't show up in the photos, as if he was shooting something else. Am I a suspect or something?
No, not yet, Mrs.
Collins. Claudia Collins.
Okay, Miss Collins. So you won't mind coming down to the station so I can take your fingerprints and ask a few more questions?
Not at all. I'll come later. 'Cause right now I need to take a shower and change my clothes. 'Cause I can't come with you like this. Or you can come home with me first, if you think that I may run away.
Miss Collins, do you live here alone?
Yes, my husband's in France. He went there for a medical checkup.
And why didn't you go with him?
Well, I can't leave my job.
Job? What job?
I'm a singer. A nightclub singer. I work in the Sunshine nightclub. Let's go.
Mrs. Collins, why aren't there any photos of you hanging on the wall?
I don't like to see myself on walls. I like to see myself in the other's eyes.
David, this is Mrs. Claudia Collins, the last one who saw Mr. Anderson alive. Mrs. Collins, this is Detective David Jones. Have a seat, Mrs. Collins. We'll start soon. Is everything ready?
Yeah? But how did you get her to come in without a warrant?
She's agreed simply to come and give her fingerprints. She's admitted that she was with the victim, so we need to take the DNA sample and check for any sexual relation between her and the victim.
That might need a warrant. She'll refuse that for sure.
What makes you so sure? She may agree.
Yeah, in your dreams, buddy.
Detective Harry, Dr. Simpson needs you in the morgue.
Okay. I'll be there soon. Go stay with her until I come back. I'll try to get that warrant, too.
Well, the investigation will start pretty soon, Mrs. Collier. They just needed Harry for something. Anyway, he'll be back soon. Don't worry.
Collins, Detective. It's Collins. And I'm not worried.
I sent for you because you asked for my report as soon as possible, Detective Harry. Thanks. I appreciate that, Dr. Simpson. Now what do you got? Well, at first I would have said a wild animal did this. Maybe a wolf or a hyena. But as you can see here, the killer did not distort the body, just plucked the heart, the eyes, lips, and genitals. So wild, and yet so organized, as if what? Well, as if it was done by something not human, but has a human mind. A werewolf? I don't believe in that shit, but there's no indication where the killer used any kind of tools in this homicide. Just teeth and nails. Could a female do this? You mean a human female? Of course not. But if we assume that a monster or a werewolf did this, then that monster must be a female. What makes you say that, Doctor? Son, look at the victim. What's he missing? The eyes that saw her, the heart that loved her, the lips that kissed her, and the genitals that, well, you know. Mrs. Collins, thank you for being so cooperative.
You're welcome, Detective. I always love to help the local law enforcement.
Now, just a few questions for you, Mrs. Collins, if you don't mind.
You know I don't, especially with that warrant you have now.
Mrs. Collins, what was the relationship between you and the victim?
I think I told your partner about that before.
Again, please, Mrs. Collins.
Okay, Detective. I was at the beach that day. He came to me while I was sunbathing and offered to take my photos, because as I told you, he said that I'm so photogenic. Then, he invited me to his apartment to get those photos. I went there, had a drink with him, and then nothing. As I told you, he apologized to me for the impaired photos, and I left. That's all.
Did anything else happen between you and him?
Like what?
Like flirting, kissing, arguing, fighting, anything like that.
No!
Then you left.
Yes, it was getting late and I had to leave. I have to be on the stage at 10 p.m. every night. And that makes me need to leave now. So can I go? Or will there be any more questions?
No, thank you. Please don't leave.
I know. Don't leave town. See you later, Detective.
What do you think?
I don't know, David. I don't know. We'll have to wait for the lab report. Then we'll see.
I don't know. Something about that woman scares me.